Hi, and welcome to Permaculture. Permaculture.
And I think this quote is very emblematic for permaculture designers and sort of where we are in this modern world right now, where there's so much uprising going on in just about every country in the world, and people are protesting, they're demanding change from their governments, they're marching in the streets. But I think what Bill might ultimately say is start with yourself, where you're at. Take responsibility for yourself, your food, your energy. If you want to see change in the bigger picture, in the bigger paradigm, you have to take responsibility for yourself, you know. And I think about this a lot in 2011 with all the Occupy movement that was happening in the United States. And I can't tell you how many videos I saw of the Occupy protesters in New York City in Zuccotti Park, and they were demanding change, but when it came time to eat, they were going down the street and getting McDonald's. You know? And so who are the real revolutionaries? Are they the ones who are marching and screaming, or are they the ones who are producing rather than consuming? So that's a big component to this permaculture lens I'm talking about, is transitioning from being consumers to being producers.
I was born in a family of 12, and it was very difficult for my parents to send us to school, and it was difficult for us to get food. The main challenge in our family was food. I wanted to do something in life that would address the problems that we are facing, especially hunger problem. That's how I ventured into permaculture.
I was always a little disturbed with the world and what was going on, and I was always searching for remedies and how do I make this a better place. And then I came upon permaculture, and it was the first time I saw something that had solutions and that was positive.
When I started in permaculture, I was in my late 20s. I dreamt of being self-sufficient in my youth, but it didn't seem possible. But then when I arrived in Australia as an English immigrant, permaculture was a system that was just starting. It was just starting to be taught. And when I discovered it, a whole new light came on, and all those dreams of the past came back to life, and I realized this was a rational, common sense system that I could use as an approach to living in a more sustainable, natural, self-sufficient way.
We're the world's largest aid agency. We have more projects and more people and more experience than any other aid agency. We don't cost anybody money, and we work in hundreds of countries. We work in the tough areas where we don't seem to see any tourists or anybody from universities, and we think we do have very high credibility. And we've saved hundreds, perhaps thousands of lives, and built very nice systems for people to live in. A sustainable system is any system that in its lifetime can produce more energy than it takes to establish and maintain it. Permaculture design is the first system of conscious functional design in the world. That's its unique aspect. And functional design is sustainable.
Permaculture was a concept that Bill Mollison and I worked on in the 70s. Today we call sustainability. It was based on a simple question related to the design of agriculture. If most of nature is dominated by perennial plants, trees and other long-lived plants, why is our agriculture dominated by annual crops? Why doesn't it follow the design rules of nature? We've got used to the idea that for any sort of key problem or important activity, there's one big solution that trumps all others, and some version of it ends up everywhere.
We live in a time of great centralization of power and economies and governments. The scales are really big, and the possibilities of problems are increased as the system becomes more complex.
Our food system is extremely unsustainable.
And that's what's happening. The word agriculture comes from agrarian, meaning the soil, and culture, the enrichment of soil. Yet today, modern industrialized agriculture is a system that destroys soils, extracts soils, minerals, and degrades soils and erodes soils. We have lost touch with the natural systems of the culture of soil. Topsoil is the layer that allows plants to grow, and it is decreasing at an alarming rate because of soil erosion. Most of the main crops of the world are eroding soils at 200 tons per acre per year. This cannot go on because topsoil is the basis of life on Earth. If we look at the present world, as a species, we've lost touch with the natural systems, and industrialized agriculture goes against the laws of nature, and we are not separate from nature.
We eat food, we grow a garden, we grow the food in the garden and bring those things back together, rather than the industrial system which stretches everything out in these long supply chains.
There's some consequences that come with industrial agriculture. Resource depletion, pollution, and disruption of rural communities particularly.
We don't have to see up front any of the detrimental impacts of the way that our food is being made. If you're not being forced to face that, you just don't think about it.
You know, growing up in a culture where people just feel fairly disenfranchised, disempowered. The scale of the problems are just so large that they just kind of turn off.
And the answer to all of these is the way we actually behave and the way we supply our needs. What we have to do is we have to design our way out of this problem. All of these problems, we can design our way out of these problems, because it's about aligning our actions to the natural system so that we become the most beneficial element on Earth rather than the most damaging element. And that we can do, but we have to make that intention, and we have to have a design plan. Permaculture has the design plan we need.
I mean, when we talk about unsustainable patterns, exactly what's going on here, but I know that I can do something about it.
Communities should not expect solutions coming from governments or large institutions, for they are not interested in creating a way of life that uses less energy and that is less dependent on industry. Each community must create their own local solutions.
So we're sort of at this point in human history where it's like we have all these issues, these problems, these concerns. And so we want to know, how can we design human systems that maximize efficiency, production, and ecological balance? And then these systems, how can we sustain them for perpetuity? Well, that's what we're talking about in permaculture.
And so we think we can do better. Agricultural sustainability starts to look at some of these issues, but permaculture really takes it home.
Once you start dealing with nature and local resources, local situation, then the design solutions are all different.
And nothing's being wasted, so there's no pollutants, because a pollutant is just an unused resource within a system.
When you look at a whole system, there are two things very undesirable. One is work, and the other one is pollution. Pollution is a product of work. Work is a result of not supplying every component of your system with its needs. Now, let's put that in way. If you didn't put a tank on your chicken house, you've got to carry water to the chickens. So you incur work. Now, if you don't collect the eggs from the chicken house, that's pollution. So pollution is an unused resource. It didn't go somewhere where it would be used.
Yeah. In this, we cover why you need to design, how you understand the patterning of systems around you, how you define your climate so you can design accurately within your climate, and we design with a climate in relation to energy cycles from the trees. We get you to understand how ecosystems give you production. We take you through water and how water works, how soil is created. We give you confidence in all those things. We teach you how to work with surveyors and do earthworks on the land. We teach you the energy efficiency of houses and how to design houses to be comfortable, how to deal with your waste systems, how to design renewable energy systems, how to specifically work with plants and animals and supply lines, even aquaculture, how to work with production in the water itself. And we teach you how to work with community systems, financial systems, how you create your own living by design which is beneficial for the environment.
For you, what is the principal need for healthy and happiness life? It's proximity to nature. Proximity, connection to nature. This is not something that is new.
I thought I was going to learn about some new technique or some new skill, but I was really surprised to find out that this is ancient technology that's been forgotten and is now being reclaimed. And I was kind of thrilled to reconnect with my roots with what everyone's roots are.
Too often times we just look for the, okay, what's the most expensive and therefore the best solution, but sometimes the best solution starts out with the simplest form. With permaculture, we can simply say, okay, what do we have? What can we use that is completely natural, that is in the air, that is in our plates even as of now, that we can later use on as compost? What do we have now? And I feel like that's the best place to start if you're looking for a solution.
The promise of simple solutions is what I found, and probably the simplest solution was just in connecting and seeing that everyone has a talent and everyone has a gift to share. And I always thought that permaculture was having to learn everything, every single skill involved. And then I realized that it's about connecting with others and then, you know, accomplishing tasks together, everyone expressing their gift. And then bringing that into my own life, trying to discover what my gifts are and how I can add to the community.
Jono Niger sums up these ideas in his book, Permaculture Promise, wherein he writes, Permaculture is about rebuilding much-needed relationships with people, land, and the systems that support us. Through these relationships and a positive approach to change, permaculture seeks to build resilient cultures and communities.
Permaculture has provided us with an incredible amount of flexibility. We've met incredible people, and I finally understand what it means. And for every dollar I have in the bank, I have 100 in relationships. We are surrounded by the most incredible people constantly through the work that we do. And so it's been an incredibly positive experience.
And the more places we went, the more people we saw that were showcasing solutions, the more optimistic we felt about the future. And it became clearer and clearer that we just had to come home and showcase that one person actually could make a huge difference. Every little square centimeter is just a solar collector waiting to be put to productive use. And if you start where you're at, and you just start, period, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
For me, it really comes, one of the fundamental reasons is our children. And showing our children there's a different way, there's a better way that we can meet our needs, but not only meet our needs, improve the ecosystem at the same time.
And here we address the problems of the world, the sustainability issues, the food security, water cycles. We demonstrate permaculture as an ethical design science and show people how they can live in a way that benefits the environment with renewable energy, natural biological waste systems, sensible housing, and of course, clean air, clean water, clean food, and all the systems we need to provide for ourselves in a way that will also benefit the environment instead of all the issues we have, all the issues of modern industrial life. We provide solutions and demonstrate how you can understand the design, implementation and establishment of those solutions on the ground with real action. And I want you to realize there are so many people that have used permaculture tools in the way they've changed their lives. And we're going to go through this and you're going to understand what is possible, because really it's only limited by your imagination. This is the wow factor in permaculture. This is the glue that puts it together, that sticks it together, that we all inherently understand. It comes from our ancestral knowledge of survival. We all have it. And we can all make links to it. This is a subject that is not taught in any other system. And this is a subject that would probably be excluded by most academics. Permaculture is about patterning of design. In patterning, we use multiple functions, multiple elements, and we emphasize their connections. So it's multi-dimensional. That's design. Above that, there's another level terrace dividing the water, and above that there's a circular footpath around a palm circle, like the banana circle, but a productive palm circle. We'll go up and have a look at that too. And that soaks into zone 3. This is a matter of just stacking natural functions through zones, making connections between elements that most people wouldn't see connections for. A road to a dam, to a productive diverse forest, to a nutrient flow, to a small pasture. Simple connections make all the productivity easier. This is zone planning, this is design function. This makes life, productivity, healthy systems easier to achieve. Design planning. And community forestry can produce forests forever for the community, and there's no reason why we can't all have free materials to build our own houses forever. And this swell will fill and backflood to the dam, and the dam, when it's full, will then backflood up these two swells. This is the future of our supply lines. Permaculture, a system that respects life in all its forms so that it makes the world a better place for all living things. Here is the form, here is the classroom, here is the teacher. This is the system that has survived for millennia and will continue to survive. This is the Diversity Nature's University. It's the art of working with natural systems to create productive ecosystems that provide all the basic needs of humanity. A design science that begins with ethics and mimics natural systems in any landscape, in any climate, anywhere on Earth. Permaculture is the way we go beyond sustainability and into resilience. Time is something you don't need to engage in with permaculture. Time is something that expands once you start to work with permaculture. You might think you don't have time. The truth is that when you engage in this subject, time expands, and time is relative to your passion of engaging with the subject. And there won't be any time that you're not engaged. You'll be permanently engaged in this new thought process. So it's not relevant to even think about the fact that you won't have time. This is something you won't be able to stop thinking about, and you'll love thinking about it. And that's what's so wonderful. You can watch permaculture videos and you can read the permaculture articles on the internet and in books, but it's not until you actually engage in the design process and someone takes you through all the framework and teaches you how to build the understanding of the subject that you suddenly realize there's a transformational event that's taking place. You've changed in a way that you realize you have a positive way of seeing things and engaging in direct action. You know there are things you can do that are going to benefit not just yourself, your family, your community, but the whole world.